Hey, it's Thursday morning. Keith Pitch here. We are here at Real Estate Live. Welcome, everybody in the wide world. We are an international show because we're on the World Wide Web. So there you go. We've got world acclaim. Anyway, I am flying solo today. Stacy is traveling here today, so she may be chiming in on the chat there, but super excited to have you guys all here today, jumping in another real estate topic of huge relevance, credit. We're going to talk about credit. We have Joseph Kidworth here to join us, but before we bring Joseph in to take a deep dive into credit, let's do what we always do. I got to get my screen ready here. We're going to talk about mortgage rates really quick and add that to the stream there. Right here, there it is. The headline: mortgage rates drop, hitting a record low for the 8th time this year. So I kind of sound like a broken record. We keep going lower and lower and lower. A lot of that economic impact to help the consumer public, the homeowners, anybody with a mortgage to continue to stay in place through a lower interest rate has been hugely beneficial for a lot of our clients and homeowners from coast to coast. So all things look very positive on the rate front. How low they're going to go, I don't know. We're getting pretty close here to 2%. We're under 2.5 mark on the 15-year fixed. And I have seen scenarios where we have huge equity positions where people are getting really, really close, if not buying down to 2% on a 15-year fixed. So the rate environment keeps getting better. If you're still employed right now remotely and you can prove that income, it's a great time to refinance. If you're still looking to buy, it's an awesome opportunity. Again, I just like to remind everybody, just a year and a half ago, we were touching 5%. 5%. So super crazy. So the world keeps on going there, and I got to get my mouse over here on the other, but I'm going to remove that. So we've talked a lot here on the real estate side. We've talked a lot about trends. We've talked a lot about technology and how people are connecting in this world that we live in. But we're gonna take one step back here today, and we're gonna talk about mortgage basics. And one of the 4 pillars of a mortgage is your credit report, and what that credit score does, what that whole recipe to come up with that ambiguous number that everybody has, and we're tracking in one way, shape, or form. So today we're talking about credit, and we're going to bring Joseph Kidworth in. Joseph, welcome to the show. I'm going to go tight here. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, is it morning yet?
Yeah, it is morning. Welcome. So Joseph is joining us. You are by far the furthest away. Well, actually, I gotta measure that out. We had last week we had a guest on, Jason, who is a mortgage and real estate professional there in Hawaii. And this week we have you. You're down in Costa Rica visiting your mom. And so I don't know who is far. I'm going to say you. I think you're further away.
Not by much, but yeah, a few steps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you just nosed it out there. So welcome and thanks for joining us. So what, you're almost to 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Is it drinking time here?
No, it is actually the time in here in Costa Rica. It is 11 in the morning.
Oh, okay. You're only 2 hours, 1 hour behind us.
1 hour. Mm-hmm.
Or in front of us, I should say. Well, so you're getting ready for lunch. Before you go to lunch, let's talk about credit, my friend. What do you do in the wide world of credit, just to give some context for our viewers?
What was your question? I couldn't hear you well.
What do you do in the context of credit? How do you help consumers with their credit?
Well, what we do is very straightforward. Besides just educating the consumer on the consumer protection laws, because those are very important. That's just step one for us. Obviously, just bring the education to the consumer. Then once they get the education down, then we began to, whether it's rebuild or establish or reconstruct, if you will, the consumer report based on what the consumer bring to us. So, but that's what we do for the most part, is just educate the consumer. That's just the number one key. Educate. The more that we educate the consumer, chances are they will survive any any hardship, financial hardships. So as you know, Keith, and nobody taught us anything about credit and high school or college, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, not at all. So you're helping consumers that are trying to dispute something or working through a road bump, if you will, in their credit picture. You're trying to help them through that.
On we do several things. One of them is dispute, and the other one is is challenging and erroneous information. Two different things. So the dispute, yeah, the dispute portion of it, we utilize it in the event of a identity theft, because we understand that certain items do not belong to the consumer, so therefore they need to be disputed, right?
Right.
That's legitimate. Then the second part is we challenge erroneous information against the bureaus, collection companies, creditors, even the court, even the IRS. So all these things that require a bit of attention, because, like I said earlier, nobody ever taught us about credit. So and we're talking about hundreds of different laws, consumer protection laws. So we do obviously several things, but yeah, we dispute and we challenge the consumer credit report, even on positive accounts.
Okay. So credit, as I mentioned in the introduction, credit is one of the four major things that we look at when we underwrite a loan. And a lot of folks, it's sad that they kind of self-eliminate themselves. They don't realize that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA will go down to 620, sometimes lower, sometimes down to 580. So they self-eliminate. But for those folks that are looking to establish a good credit makeup, what does that look like?
What was your question?
A good credit makeup. What does that look like? Does it look like 2 trade lines? How does somebody go out there and make sure they get a really good credit score?
Let's begin with establishing credit. Remember back in the day when we graduated from college and we had no idea what to do, and we just asked mom and dad, "Hey, can you help me apply for credit cosign?" Remember those days? Yeah. So that's the wrong way to go, really. Not really. We can still as mom and dad. But what is truly healthy to maintain a decent credit score are just 2 simple things. 2 installment accounts. It could be a student loan. It could be a car loan. Or, well, a mortgage would be a little bit difficult when you're 18 years old, right? Because you're learning how to live life. But another installment account, for example, apply for a signature loan. 2 of them. All we need is just 2 of them. Second of all, we need at least 3 to 5 revolving accounts, which are credit cards. Okay. So for those that don't have any credit at all, the best way to go is just to apply for 3 secure credit cards, $300 a piece. That's the best route. In regards to installment accounts, there are actually quite a few people out there, lenders, providing this type of service. One of the companies that I utilize for my clients is Self-Lender. That is an installment account. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
Self-Lender. It is a great system. What they do is they're gonna lend you $1,000 or $2,000, and but what they'll do, they will not give you the cash. They will invest it on a CD for you. Okay. Yeah. So you begin to make your normal monthly payments, whether it's $25 a month or $45 a month, depends on the term and depends on the amount that you requested. So once you pay this off, you're gonna gain several things. They will report to the credit bureaus, all 3 major credit bureaus. Then whatever amount the CD accumulate in a year or 2, you will get that $2,000 plus your gains.
Wow.
Yes. And on the same token, within 6 months, this company will provide you with a secure credit card. So you'll be building credit both ways. It is one of the best companies I found out in the market that can help the consumer to reestablish credit, or somebody who just grad from the university, a recent grad.
So you said Self-Lender.
Self-Lender, yes.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. Maybe I'll have Keegan put that in our chat box so everybody could see that. I'm assuming they have a website.
Yeah,
It is 2020.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal thing. It really is. It really is, because it's just it's giving you money, but they invest it for you.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can walk with, if you borrow a couple of $1,000, and let's say hypothetically in 2 years, you gain $200-300 out of that $2,000. Now you're walking away with $2,300, and it got reported to your credit report through all three major credit bureaus. So now you have a good credit, and you have $2,300 on top of that.
That's a huge thing, because a lot of those folks going out there to establish credit, like you said, whether you're 18 and just getting started, or you're new to the country. I mean, here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of people that are first time here in America, and they want to go down that financial path of success and buy a house and build credit. And that's a hard thing for them to guide down. So the secured credit cards through the banks, and then self-lender. That's
Self-lender,
really,
absolutely. Those are the two main components to help your credit to go up.
So once you start these different accounts, how long does it take to register a credit score?
Normally within 60 days.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you want to take it one notch up, then it's very straightforward. Just wait 6 months. When you accumulate enough credit history in 6 months, and go ahead and apply for a couple authorized user accounts. It could be through mom and dad. If they have 10-year-old account or 15-year-old account with a perfect payment history, we could help them to get the authorized user account. So the credit history will be uploaded into son and daughter or whoever. Now they have the 6 months of credit history with self-lender and three secure credit cards. Now we have mom and dad adding a couple of authorized users. So now somebody who has 620 credit score within 6 months, within 8 months, it could be up to 740.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
While we're talking about new credit, I've come across this a couple of times. Let's talk about those folks that had their credit and then paid it off and haven't used it. What happens in that case?
For those who have new credit?
No. For those that have had established credit, let's say, hey, I had my credit cards for 10 years, and then all of a sudden I got on the Dave Ramsey approach of paying everything off and never using credit again. What happens to my credit score then?
So, you will hit a plateau. You just sit on a plateau. It will not go up and down, number one. Number two, if you're not utilizing those cards, so the bank technically saying you're not interested, so they will close them down. So your scores will drop. Because it is really, really bad when a bank is closing an account that has 10 years worth of payment history. So
what would you suggest to the folks with revolving credit cards and that kind of stuff? I mean, what is the minimum usage they should do to keep their credit score in good standing?
There are two types of minimum use on those credit cards. Number one, 25%. That will maintain your current scores and a bit extra, not much. But if you want to take it to a different level, keep it under 7% of the credit limit. That can boost your scores 100 points.
Okay. Awesome.
Are you following?
Yeah, because it's funny. We work with our clients too, and we want to help them achieve the best rate possible, because rates are driven off your credit score. And good intentions sometimes have bad consequences.
Correct.
And they go out there and they say, oh, hey, I know you wanted me to pay down that credit card to $1,000, but I went one step further and paid it off to zero.
A problem that happens a lot is just that there's folks out there that are super responsible, and they use their credit card and they paid immediately. They paid it off immediately. Well, that's not allowing the system to register a true payment history. It shows 0, 0, 0, 0 balance all the time. You need to be patient. So to boost your scores, I'm going to give you the perfect scenario for somebody who might want to buy a home and they're running short on points.
Okay.
If they have a couple of credit cards and they are 30% or 25% of the credit limit, what I would like them to do is when they receive the invoice to pay this off, just go ahead and pay half of what they owe. And just wait 10, which it most likely could be the 15th or the 1st of each month. It depends on the cycle. So go ahead and pay half of what you owe. Then wait 10 days and pay it off. That's going to register, believe it or not, that's going to register double payment, and that will
Ah,
boost your scores.
gotcha.
But you have to wait for the system to register these payments. And I've seen it where somebody has 720 credit score with 3 credit cards at 25 or 30% utilization and just following the system. Within 30 days, the score is going up by 820.
Yeah, that's powerful. You just said a term that I want to help expand on. So utilization, when it comes to revolving lines of credit, what does that mean and why is it important?
Well, it is important because it's your lifeline, really. It's like just I tell everybody, hey, the makeup of the credit score is very straightforward. We have payment history. That's huge. That's 35% of the credit, our credit, your credit, my credit.
So that's paying your bills on time, right?
Exactly. Just pay your bills on time and maintain a minimum balance. It is okay to pay it off, but most people pay the credit cards off because just don't want to keep a current interest. They got an interest rate and they have to pay. You're gonna have to choose one or the other. Do you want a perfect credit, or you just don't want to pay interest? You know what I mean? You're gonna have to balance it out.
Yeah, you got to play the game.
So you got 35%, which is your payment history, and that's very important. And you got 30%, which is amounts that you owe, and that's exactly what I was just talking about.
Gotcha.
Trying to. Someone told me once, Joseph, I just used my credit card. I just ran $5,000 and I have $10,000 credit limit. Would that affect my credit? Yes, it will. Because once you run that credit card, it'll register in the system immediately. So that will show up 30 or 45 days later on the consumer report.
Gotcha.
So, amounts that you owed, type of accounts. We're just talking about that. We're talking about revolving installment accounts, and there are different kinds. They have the revolving accounts, for example, American Express. You get to spend $10,000 on American Express, and guess what? You have to pay it. You have to pay it off within 30 days. So they're different accounts. So we have all those three. Those are the three main ones. The other ones is just whether it's a new credit or old credit, but most likely new credit. So you have to be careful. I tell everybody, and I know that you and I heard this commercial on TV. Don't pay until 2025. The bedroom superstore. Don't do it.
Yeah. Deferred financing.
Because that is a secondary market. And because it's a secondary market, and if you do have good credit and apply for any of those things, because it is a secondary market, the credit bureaus will penalize you.
What other secondary markets are there?
We're talking about One Main.
Okay.
That's considered a secondary market. You know what I mean? Like that's for people that have credit challenges and looking for a quick loan on a 24.99 interest rate. That's exactly the companies who are approving these loans. Don't buy this big old bed and paying 10 years down the road. It's exactly that. That's a problem. So
okay.
You'll be better off going to your local bank if you have good credit. Just get a signature loan and go buy cash.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Nice. What about like recreational vehicles and those things? Are those just considered like installments, like a car loan, or is that like a secondary market?
Correct. A boat, a motorhome, all these things are considered installment loans.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. One thing that you said, like new credit versus old credit. When does a new credit report become an established trade line?
Within 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally 60 days. So, for example, when August, was it August what? The 6th of August, right? So whatever happened to Keith's credit during the month of August, it will not reflect on September. It will reflect on October.
Oh.
Because now what's reported now is May. Or June, if you will. What's reported on your credit. That's why a lot of people tell me, I checked Credit Karma once and it looked completely different. Yeah, it's because they're 60 days behind.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You brought it up. We got to talk about it. So all the time, I ask people if when they're going through the pre-approval process,
Sure.
Do you have Credit Karma? Kind of give me the gauge of where you are in Credit Karma. And then they're always floored when I pull a mortgage credit report and it's completely different than what Credit Karma says. It's typically within like 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
It's different.
I have something I can show you. Just
okay.
This is a fact. It says right here, "Hi Joseph, according to your TransUnion report, you recently paid off one of your credit cards, which is Bank of America. I just got this email today. I paid that card off 2 months ago."
Oh, wow.
So you see, that's a proof. So you can see that when you looked at the credit report from Credit Karma versus obtaining your report through a different company, different things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I tell folks, unless you're monitoring your credit through a smart credit or Identity IQ or whomever, then compare both of them and you realize that one of them is 60 days behind, which is Credit Karma. And I have people that tell me, but my credit looks so well. I have this client, true story. My credit score is about 760. I have like 5 collections and it hasn't affected my credit because I pay my bills on time. I said, when was the last time you checked out your credit? I just did it the other day through Credit Karma. It's a 760 credit score. Okay, let's pull your credit. 540. Yes.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot.
So I tell folks, unless you're monitoring your credit on a monthly basis, then go ahead and utilize Credit Karma because now you are aware of they're behind 2 months. Yeah. But if you're not, don't get shocked when you brought it to me, Credit Karma, and I pull your credit into 2 different things, and we're missing 100 points. That's because of it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I try to remind people also that the motive for Credit Karma is to sell advertising dollars to creditors. So they're trying to advise you and give you some nuggets of smart financial reasoning. However, I mean, their main existence is to sell advertising to financial institutions.
The same with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. If you go up to their websites, they're money-making machines.
Can we talk? Yeah, you brought up Experian. So can we talk about the Experian Boost and when people are now self-reporting, like their cable bill and what? Everybody's like, well, hey, I did this and I went up to this score, and I can't use that on a mortgage credit report, right? It doesn't apply.
It doesn't apply.
What does that do for the consumer on their credit basis? Is this a good thing to do? Should they be doing this credit boost and self-reporting their cable bill?
Well, you remember back in the day, I've been off the mortgage industry for a very long time. But back in the day when I used to do loans and you were in the same boat, we have a alternative credit, which I do not know whether or not it still exists.
Yeah. FHA brought it back.
But now back then they didn't have that system. Now they do. But how is that affecting or impacting on a positive way to the consumer? That's just based on bank guidelines. Yeah. Every bank has different guidelines. Yeah. Just because somebody has a cable bill, cell phone bill, water bill, garbage bill in the credit report, it doesn't mean a lender is going to go ahead and look into that and say we're going to approve you. So some lenders don't accept that at all. I mean, it's just, although it could help you to boost your scores, but if you apply for a home loan, and a lender is not okay with those straight lines to give you a loan, then it is what it is. So every lender is a bit different. I see in banks that do get you approved on a credit card, Capital One on a venture card, right, for $20,000 or $50,000, because they're credit score driven.
Right.
They're not into, like, hey, how many trailers you got and how old they are. I've seen folks coming off of the bankruptcy, seriously, coming out of fresh bankruptcy, and because they have so much debt, 90 days later, they didn't have absolutely anything, right? And the scores went up 760.
Yeah, I've seen it too. It's pretty amazing.
It's because some banks are credit score driven, and that's why when you get to hear this Experian, hey, go ahead and we can help you to report your cell phone bill and all that. It will help you a bit, but banks are not quite there yet for the most part.
Tell us, and this may still be a work in progress, how has it been with the reporting of forbearances and those types of things right now in COVID times? I mean, are they being properly reported? I saw a headline the other day that a major bank, I'm not going to name any names, but put people directly into forbearance.
Yeah, I heard. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So here's what I tell the consumer: you need to stay on top, of your finances and credit. If you need to call your bank every month just to verify that things are correct, great. Don't rely on the bank sometimes because they make mistakes just like anyone else. And I have seen it over and over and over and over. I think that earlier I put some videos on Facebook talking about, hey, if you can't make your car payment, call your bank. They might defer your payment for 90 days. But then you have to call every month just to verify. Because I think I have an idea what you're talking about now. Yeah. And that's just not the only one bank. There's actually a couple of more out there.
Yeah.
Why? Gosh, it's just the consumer relying on the bank when in reality we just kind of have to take control of, on those things. But once they report, what the consumer needs to do is to get a document from the bank stating that there was a mistake on their behalf. And that document is sufficient enough to send it to the credit bureaus to make the corrections.
Gotcha. How long does that process take if you wanted to go through some sort of correction like that?
That process can take about 30 days, really, if there's a proper documents. Yes. Do not waste your money on credit repair companies that just want to dispute on your behalf. If there's no documentation, it's a waste of money. It really is. Yeah. It really is. I have folks that, can you help me with this things? And I look at the credit reports, I would love to, but I can't do it. Right. So yeah, unless you have proper documentation from a bank stating that, that was a mistake from our end, then yeah, it makes sense. Otherwise, don't waste your money in credit repair companies. Don't even call me. I want to make sure, look, at the end of the day, we are looking for the best interest of the consumer. That's right. What our company does. So I'm not going to go ahead and take someone's money just because of it. No way.
So yeah, it's super important. Yeah, we've got one person, Dana here. She's gonna go check out Self Lender. So do it, Dana. Make it happen. I wanted to talk about credit from a COVID position. There's lots of forbearance. There's lots of workout. You said it yourself. I want to echo this sentiment for everybody.
Sure.
If you are going through a hardship, reach out to your lenders. Okay, mortgage companies, car companies, credit cards. We're not in the business of owning cars, owning houses, charging off your credit cards, right? Sure. We're all in the business of helping you as a consumer make sure that your credit is maintained to the best of your ability, right? So there are some workouts. There's a lot more leniency, especially right now in the world of COVID-19, that, don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out, call us up, call your mortgage companies, call your car companies, call whoever your creditor is, and have a conversation, right? It's so powerful right now.
It really is.
I want to reiterate that point.
And on credit cards, just Keith, just to echo what you just mentioned on credit cards, banks are deferring payments on a monthly basis. You have to call every month. They will not give you a 90 days or 6-month deferment. You have to call them every month and tell them, look, COVID-19 haven't recovered yet, and they'll go ahead. You're gonna incur interest, obviously, and they will put them on the back of the loan that you have. Yeah. But they will go ahead and skip that payment. But you have to call if you're suffering monthly. You have to call monthly. Car loans. Most banks are deferring up to 90 days.
Okay.
So after 90 days, so they might reduce your payment interest only for another 90 days, and then after that, I have no idea because we haven't gone that far yet. So, but those are the programs that you could actually call. For those who are watching and ask the lender for help, they're more than happy to help you out. Because it makes no sense for them to repossess the vehicle. It's going to sit out there for months and months and months and months. Consumer can pay the loan. The car is appreciating, gathering dust and mold, and they might get, you know, a $5,000 car, they might get $800 at auction.
Right.
Then the consumer is gonna call me and say, you know what, they're saying they send the extra debt to a collection company, and I say, okay, just come to me. We'll go ahead and challenge and get rid of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have those conversations. So we're getting close to our half an hour. I got one final question for you.
Sure.
It always seems to, I mean, you ask a bunch of different mortgage professionals, you ask a bunch of different credit professionals, what is the truth about inquiries, right? So everybody right now, especially right now with so many headlines out there with interest rates being this and shop around and this and that. So I'm going to give you my story and I want to hear from you. I've got a person that made application with me. I pulled his credit. I looked at his credit report. Loan Depot is inquiry number 47 in the last 5 months. Tell me what kind of impact that has on their credit report.
It is the same impact as the makeup of the credit score. Payment history, they're going to rate your payment history. So inquiries, they treat it equally. If you have 1 to 3 in 6 months, that's 1 to 3 in 12 months. That is excellent. If you have 1 to 5 within a year, that is okay. If you have, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
If you have 1 to 10 in 12 months, that is poor. If you have 1 to 50 in 12 months, that is bad. That's how the credit system is rating inquiries. Same as that way.
Yeah, his number one is number one.
When a bank sees that you do have more than 10 in 12 months, they get a bit concerned.
Right.
Now, but if they see like 46, they're going to turn you down. It doesn't matter if your credit score is 720. The bank are going to rate the inquiries. Say, why are you applying for credit? Why are you so desperate? What's going? You see now all these questions begin to pop, and chances are they might turn it down.
Well, and to your point earlier, whatever I do right now won't show up for 60 days, right? So
Correct.
So there's that compound effect that all of a sudden, I've got 10 inquiries in the last 2 months. Has anything hit the credit report yet? What's the payment history on that? What's the new debt to income ratio on those trade lines you may or may not have taken out, right? So there's a lot of questions, open-ended questions there that haven't been answered.
But like I said, you have to you have to be careful. Do not have more than 10 inquiries within 12 months.
Yeah,
they'll drop eventually. They every 2 years they'll drop if you ask for it.
If you ask for it, nice.
There's cases applying with 168 of them.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. You got to be working hard to get 168 inquiries.
Well, I'll tell you what, 3/3 of those were about 4 years old, and they were still showing up on the credit.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, I appreciate you coming on here today and joining us. We're going to put your information in the comment bars here too, as well as Self-Lender, because I think that's a great program.
Absolutely.
You get credit and a savings account at the end of the deal.
Can't go wrong with that.
What a win-win situation. So,
absolutely.
Right on. Well, you have fun in Costa Rica. Travel safe back. I'm glad to hear that your mom's doing well. And we'll definitely be in touch. And have a great Thursday, man.
You too. Thank you for having me. And any questions, just reach out, kidworkgroup.com.
Perfect. Take care.
Thank you, Keith.
Well, thanks, everybody. That concludes today's Real Estate Now live video. Next week, we have Tammy Richards coming on, and she's going to talk about how she's the VP of Operations here at Loan Depot, and how we're integrating like everything in the kitchen sink into your mortgage application. So making it quick and easy for you to effectively get your mortgage done really by a push of a button. So join us next Thursday when we talk about integration, how we're getting that done for you and making a seamless close of your mortgage. Enjoy your week. And for those of you here in the Seattle area, enjoy that rain shine out there. Take care.